The rain in Chicago didn't fall. It punished. It lashed against the cracked window of the Golden Grain Diner, mirroring the frantic rhythm of Alara Vance's heart. Alara scrubbed the industrial-sized grease trap with a ferocity that made her knuckles bleed. It was 11:45 p.m. This was her third shift of the day, after a morning at the florist and an afternoon filing papers at a local clinic, and the exhaustion was starting to feel like a physical weight, a leaden vest she could never take off. Alara, phone. Her manager, Lou, tossed a cordless handset onto the stainless steel counter. He didn't look at her. Nobody looked at Alara these days. She was a ghost haunting her own life. "Hello," she rasped, wiping her hands on her stained apron. "Alara, they're here." It was her father. His voice sounded thin, brittle, like dry leaves being crushed under a boot. "Who's here, Dad? The hospital." Her mind immediately went to her younger sister, Mia. The dialysis treatments were falling behind. The bills were mounting like a digital avalanche. "No," he whimpered. "The men in the gray suits from Vane Enterprises, Alara, I thought I could win it back. I thought the luck would turn." Alara's world tilted. "Win what back, Dad? What did you do?" "The house. The shop." "Everything. I put it all on the table, Alara. I signed the papers. I didn't know they were owned by him. There was only one him in Chicago who owned the debt of the desperate. Silas Vane, the man the tabloids called the Ice King and the Billionaire Reaper. He didn't just buy companies, he liquidated lives." "Much," Alara whispered. "0.4 million, her father sobbed. "They're giving us until midnight to vacate, or they'll call the police for trespassing on corporate property." Alara looked at the clock. 11:52 p.m. She didn't hang up. She dropped the phone, grabbed her threadbare coat, and ran. The headquarters of Vane Enterprises sat in the loop, a monolith of black glass and steel that seemed to pierce the very clouds. It was a cathedral built to the god of profit, and tonight it looked like a tomb. Alara burst through the revolving doors, drenched and shivering. The lobby was silent, smelling of expensive mahogany and cold ambition. "Need to see Silas Vane," she gasped to the security guard, a man whose suit probably cost more than her father's entire life savings. "Mr. Vane doesn't see anyone without an appointment, miss, especially not at midnight." The guard looked at her wet hair and her diner uniform with a sneer. "Please leave before I call the authorities." "Him, it's about the Vance debt," she shouted, her voice echoing off the marble floors. "Tell him the collateral is here to negotiate." The guard paused, his hand hovering over his radio. Something in Alara's eyes, a flicker of pure, unadulterated desperation, stopped him. He spoke a few words into his headset, waited, and then his expression shifted from mockery to confusion. "Elevator 4, top floor," he said curtly. "Don't touch the glass." The penthouse office was darker than the lobby. The only light came from the city skyline bleeding through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Silas Vane sat behind a desk of polished obsidian. He didn't look like a reaper. He looked like an apex predator at rest. His hair was the color of a winter midnight, and his eyes, when they finally lifted to hers, were a piercing surgical blue. "Late," he said. His voice was a low, smooth baritone that felt like a vibration in the floorboards. "I'm here to ask for an extension," Alara said, stepping forward. Her shoes left wet patches on his silk rug. "My father is a gambler, yes." "He's a fool, but you can't throw a sick girl into the street for a debt she didn't sign for." Silas leaned back, clicking a heavy gold pen. Click, click. "I don't deal in sick girls or fools, Miss Vance. I deal in contracts. Your father signed over the deed to the Vance estate and the commercial properties in exchange for a high-stakes credit line. He lost. I won. It's a simple equation." "Work for it," she said, her voice trembling. "I have 3 jobs. I'll take a 4th. "I'll pay interest." "You'd be dead of old age before you paid off the interest on $2 million, Silas interrupted. He stood up, and the sheer scale of him dominated the room. He walked around the desk, stopping just inches from her. He smelled of sandalwood and power. He reached out, his cold fingers catching a stray, wet lock of her hair. Alara flinched but didn't pull away. "However," he murmured, his gaze scanning her face with a terrifying, clinical intensity. "I find myself in need of a specific kind of asset, one that isn't listed on a balance sheet." "What do you mean?" Silas stepped back, his face returning to a mask of ice. "My grandfather's will is archaic. To retain my position as CEO, I must be married within 30 days to someone respectable but uncomplicated. Someone who has everything to lose if they betray me." Alara felt the air leave her lungs. "You want a hostage." "I want a wife," Silas corrected. "A 1-year contract. You play the part of the doting bride. You attend the galas. You live in my house. You sign a non-disclosure agreement that would put you in prison for life if you speak a word of our arrangement." He walked back to his desk and picked up a single sheet of paper. "In exchange, the Vance debt is erased. Your sister's medical bills are covered by the Vane Foundation, and at the end of 12 months, you walk away with a $5 million settlement." He held out the gold pen. "1 year of your life, Alara, for your family's survival. Do we have a deal?" Alara looked at the pen, then at the man who held her entire world in his hands. She thought of Mia's pale face in the hospital bed. She thought of her father's broken sobs. She reached out, her hand shaking, and took the pen. "Hate you," she whispered. Silas didn't blink. A ghost of a smirk touched his lips, cruel and devastatingly handsome. "Sign the paper, Alara. You can hate me from the penthouse.